Alrighty, hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, I guess, wherever you are at. Welcome to the studio. I'm glad to be back after a week of absence. I had some relatives into town for the holidays, and that took a little precedence over this. I see we're talking about Lindsay in the chat already. Okay, let's see. What are we going to do tonight? I'm going to paint this. That's a terrible picture. I'm going to paint this scene. If you can see that at all, there are a number of boats up there. I walk by this little parking lot every weekend, and I saw these boats out there, and thought I would take a stab at painting them. I actually lifted my phone up over the chain link fence to take this picture, so there were no chain link fence in the way. I want to say hello already, Natalie, Liza, Sherry. Thank you for joining me and making my Wednesday evening enjoyable. Let's see. I've pre-drawn my picture, as you can see here. Just quickly drawn it on. The paper that I'm using, what paper am I using? Fabriano Studio paper. My paints, as always, are my M. Graham paints that I have in the studio. I'm going to, let's do this. Whoop. Uh-oh. Oh, I've turned on the studio colors and you can't see them. There they are. There's the studio. I had a little problem before I got started this evening. I was going to show you guys some pictures that I took while I was away. I went to this really cool. I did two things that were really cool. I went to this really cool art installation. That's in a town, I don't know, 20 miles away or so, and it's at night. It's called Sensario, and it's like 100,000 or 200,000 lights on the ground. It's probably bigger than that now, because it's been added onto a few times. And so I was trying to set it up so that I could show you all the pictures. I think I finally got it, but when I did it, when I set it up, the ratio went all crazy and everything went all over the screen. And there was I'll be honest, there were 3 or 4 minutes of wild panic as I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to be able to do my broadcast. Let's see, what did you say, Liza? You said, I learned something new today that I want to share. Okay, I have some paint sets. Always disappointed in the greens. Sure, I totally understand that. I learned today that if you add yellow or orange to an unpleasant, unreal green, you might be able to make it more real. That's true. So I do that with my phthalo green here. My phthalo green, which on its own is a horrible color, but when you mix it with a yellow, it plays pretty nicely. It looks pretty nice, I think. Let's see. I'm going to come down. So I just put some cobalt. I put some cerulean blue on the top of my painting here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color in underneath this, just continuing to come down. I'm going to paint around these boats. I'm going to hope to paint around these boats. I'm going to start by painting around the boats, and sometimes I paint over top of them anyways, and I think I've painted far enough down for my sky that whatever goes above that is going to be trees, and we can blend that in and make that look pretty nicely. up there. Like I said, I walk past this little boat yard every weekend. I take it's about a 4 mile, 5 mile round trip walk down to the ocean and from my house. And I pass this little area on the way. And for the past couple of weekends, I've actually stopped in to look at these boats because there's another one of these it's a boat yard, a boat storage place, I guess is the best way to say it, on the other end of my town. And I've stopped there many, many times and taken pictures of the boats in storage, and I've done a few paintings of them. I really think they're neat, and these boats I've never really stopped at, so I just decided I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stop and take a look at these boats, and came home and I actually did a couple of paintings of them. I'll show those to you in a minute or two if you want to see those, and you can see that I've not been just lounging around on my holiday here. That I've been doing a little bit of work. So let's just go right around those wheels. Let's leave those wheels. I don't know. We'll go right over top of those wheels, I guess. There we go. I'm trying to. I've painted this way plenty of times before. I see something up there. I'm gonna respond to this in just a second. I've painted this way plenty of times before. And Liza, again, I'm gonna say thank you to you for suggesting that I do this again and kind of reintroducing me to this looser in interpretive impressionist kind of painting. But it's taken me, I will admit, it's taken me a little bit to get back into the swing of things with it. I feel like I have to relearn how to do it, because I tried to do a few paintings and my water levels weren't all right. I've tried to get some, different paint on my paintbrush, and the paint that was there hadn't come off and whatnot, and a little bit of struggle with it, but that's okay. I'm enjoying doing this again. Let's see. Just try adding a touch of red to your greens. That helps too. It dulls it down a little bit. It's a compliment, and takes the starkness out of it a little bit. It should. Red is a compliment to green. Oh yeah, it dulls it right down. Super bright. Two greens are problematic. Susie says sometimes they are. That's true. Sometimes. Like, I'm glad you took my suggestion. Look, so here's a very similar painting that I did of the same scene. Very impressionistic. So I did that. Look, I'm going to put these back up here. What else did I do? Like, I did a picture of the coastline just up the way a little bit. It's got this big arch in here. I don't know if I like this one so much. It's got this weird line in there. So I did it again. I think this one came out a lot better. I think that one's pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, I did this one another time. I'm not so wild about this one. I do like the way this boat turned out up here, though. I think this boat turned out pretty well. What else do I have? Oh, and a couple that I haven't finished. I'm not going to show you those. Dana's here. Hello, Dana. Hello, Michael. Glad to see your paintings of boats. Everybody loves boats. Boats are fun to paint. They really are. It's just that sometimes boats don't like me to paint them. Sometimes you just got to say it how it is. Okay, so let's see. I've got. I'm gonna come back. I think we're dry enough up here. I'm gonna come back and put in a couple of trees up here and some greenery to kind of start my second layer of painting up here. And if you can see in this picture, all the way on the left hand side, that's a terrible picture. It's everything's so small. There's a tree that looks like it's got some lines that just go. We have these pine trees that really have some stark lines to them. And yeah, I paint them all with a lot of straight lines, and and sometimes people go, "Oh, why do you do it that way?" But then they look at the trees and they go, "Oh, you know what? I kind of get it." Um, I think they're cypress pines, and they just have these really kind of crazy staccato straight branches that stick out. So I got a couple of those on this side of the painting, and then on the other side over here on the left hand side, we've got some eucalyptus trees, which are exactly the opposite. They have kind of puff balls. Their leaves are all in clusters around them. And so I got these two kind of diverse kinds of trees over here that I'm trying to paint. Let's see. I like riding in Liza. I like riding in boats. Your husband's friend has a sailboat, and they take you sailing. I'm kind of with you. Sailing on somebody else's boat always is a good thing. Because first of all, it's not your boat. You're not paying for it. Boats are not cheap. Let's see, I've got this little area in here that's going to be pretty dark in here. And there are boats behind this. But I want to kind of darken this out as it comes down. I don't want too much back here. I want the boat to be bright and stand out in front of everything. So as this comes down, I'm just going to make this darker back here. All right, we're kind of behind the hillside, and this can get darker, and it's gonna come down a little bit. You bring food. All right. That's perfect. I think that is a great trade-off. They bring the boat and you bring the food. I think that's wonderful. That's how I would want to do it. Sometimes that's how I do it. I have a buddy of mine that I worked with for years, and he's got a little boat in the harbor here. And every now and again, I'm like, "Hey, Danny, can we just go out on the boat and do a little running around?" And he's nice enough. I don't think I'm gonna come back and do a whole lot more with this tree over here, this whole area. So I'm just gonna drop in a few branches here. A little trunk of a tree here, a little stick, a little twig there. Right, and I'm hoping it's gonna end up looking tree-ish by the time we're done with it. And then I'm gonna kind of lighten this a little bit. How do I want to do this? Give me a little bit of lighter blue as I come along here. Lighter green, I mean. Still some blue in it, but not quite as dark. I've taped my paper down this time to see if I can do this without without turning my page. Maybe I'm just trying to prove it to myself that it's possible to paint something without twisting and turning the page 100 times. So I'm gonna ask, right? We've just come through uh, in America, anyways. Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. I had some family here. In fact, I'm gonna do this too. Let's see if I can do this. There you go, Mom. If you're watching, thanks for coming to visit. Shameless plug for my mom. I'm trying to become a twister. Yes, yes. Trying to see if I can do this. Now, over here, I'm going to lay the brush much more on its side. And I think that this does a lot better of a job of making it look like those big eucalyptus trees. Of course, still gonna put a few dots and dashes and whatnot here and there. And so I learned about the eucalyptus trees here, that it should interest anybody other than me. But of course, they're not native here. And I'm like, why? Why would they all be here? We have thousands and thousands and thousands of these eucalyptus trees here. As it turns out, one of the founders of this area, back in the turn of the previous century, had visited New Zealand and liked the trees. And so he decided to bring them all over here. So he came over with like 1,000,000 seeds or something and just planted them everywhere he went. Like, how are you able to do that? It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. Okay, I'm going to bring that around the side, and I'm going to kind of blend this in on this side too, just like I did on this side, and kind of in the middle. So I don't necessarily want a hard edge right there, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side before it gets too dry. And I'm going to just drop in a few. I've been trying to do this and do this with a little lighter hand. So that it so that it doesn't necessarily look like I've just gone in with a sledgehammer to draw some lines on here, which I think for me it does sometimes because I don't always have a steady hand. So I'm kind of supporting one hand with another here, or trying to anyways. There we go, and I think that kind of does what I want it to do. I've got a few trees. Actually, I guess I've got a few trees over here too. And if we can kind of show a branch or a trunk or something in there, then I think we're pretty much as far ahead as we need to be. Let's see. Yeah, right. We had a good one in October. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay. Sherry, you had a good one. What was I talking about? I don't even remember. That was before they worried about invasive species of plant. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he brought it over here, and you couldn't do that today because, holy cow, everybody would be up in arms about that. But he did back in the day. I don't remember what his name was, but boy, would he ever be in trouble today. All right, I'm mixing up a little blue gray here. Neutral tint. I know it's going to end up just like Payne's gray. A little bit neutral tint, which is a little purpley. Putting a little of my own blue in that because I want to put some shadows on the sides of these. It was a simpler time. You could just plant things wherever you wanted to. I know. I don't. I'm not blaming the guy. Not much. I'll blame him a little bit, but it's fine. It's just when you see them and they're everywhere, you're like, whoo, a little overwhelmed with how many of them are around. See, this is a little tiny little boat over here. I'll give him a little shadow, and then this guy all the way back here. Let's give him a little. And I'm purposely doing it this way, putting my shadows on right now. But I tried this earlier. The paintings you saw that I showed before, I tried this on, and I thought it looked a little weird putting the shadow on over top of the paint color. You know, the boats have on the bottom of the hull many times. They've got a little bit of paint color under there. I thought it just looked a little funny, so I'm just toying with putting it on the top. Or I mean putting it on first, putting it on the top. What am I talking about? Putting it on first. And then this side of the cabin here, maybe that's in shadow a little bit. Comes down here. We're starting to get a little bit of something on our boat here. All right, this is the other side of the boat over here. Maybe that's in shadow somehow over there. Darker shadow under here. The nice thing about this painting style, one nice thing about this painting style is if you don't do everything exactly right, nobody's ever going to say it's wrong because it's not supposed to be exactly right. But just that little bit, and all of a sudden you can start to see that this hull has some shape to it. There's a little hitch right there, and this one has a little bit of roundness to it, and so there's a little bit there going on. Here in Phoenix, it's the palm trees that are stupid. They're not native to the desert. They aren't. I guess they probably aren't, are they? But you guys have a lot of them. You have a lot of them. Let's see, Liza. I missed out because I was changing laundry. Okay. Talking about invasive. I wrecked my garden by planting lily of the valley. It crowds everything out. Oh no! Oh. There are some plants that just do that, and you want to. I'm like, no. Okay, I'm gonna go back into. Let's see. Neutral tint, a bit more blue, and I'm gonna try. Let's see if I can do this. Might be a bit stronger than I want, but I'm gonna put in a little shadow underneath these boats. And if it's too much, I'm just gonna whisk a little bit of it off, and I'm not gonna worry too much about it. A little bit underneath this boat. And I'll tell you the one thing that I didn't do in this drawing that I really wish I had done, and I didn't think about it until after I had done it. And I don't the original reference image isn't this way, so I'm not terribly upset about it. But I wish I had seen it and recognized it. I would have put this boat in the middle behind, so they're all connected. It's so nice to have things connected, up, all the way across. There we go. We got a little shadow underneath there. And while I'm over here, I'm going to take a little red. That's a alizarin crimson. A little bit of, well, I'll just throw all this stuff on there. A little bit of sepia, a little bit of neutral tint. I want this a bit warmer down here on the bottom. Oh, see, now you guys are just off a little bit, aren't you? Okay, let's do this. We don't need to say thank you to Mom anymore. We don't need that. Hang on one second. Well, how about if I just do this? Boop. There you go. Now you can see down a little bit further. I'll make this, just blend this up a little bit more. This is really just dirt and gravel and whatnot. We'll add some stuff to it, but I want this to be a little stronger, and I want it to pull itself forward. Wait, what's late? Hold on. Michael in chat, did anyone score any great Black Friday art supplies? Oh, you know what? I didn't even go out and look for anything on Black Friday. I stayed home. That's like cracking shortly after. Lindsay was posting the art supply deals like crazy, but you managed to resist. I didn't. I had family here. Oh, here, I'll do this. I'm going to paint a little bit on this boat, but I want to show you guys. So I did two things. I went to Hearst Castle, which is on the Central Coast here in Central Coast of California, and I went to this thing called Sensario. So I'm going to show you these. I think I can talk over top of them, but so let me set this up. The Sensario, all the ones at night that you're going to see we got there about 7:30 at night, and it was totally dark, and then the moon came out, and my camera is good enough that it took these pictures, and you can see the moon and everything in there. Natalie, is the brown going to granulate? Not much. It won't granulate much. Okay, so here come the pictures of this place, and I don't know too much about the artist. I know his first name is Bruce, and I don't know much more about Bruce than that. But this is about 3 acres, and it's totally dark. You got to park, and where you park, you can't see any of these lights. There are none that you can see, and you walk on a very dimly lit path, and you go in, and then you go around one corner. And not these are like little octopus things that I thought were really cool, but these are way at the end and they're brand new. But you walk into these lights, and it's completely amazing. You get in there and it's just, you've like stepped into another world. Like what was what was the James Cameron movie where they were on that different planet? Um, but they all change colors. They're all solar powered, and you just walk through them, and it's unbelievable. Now there's he's got lights in. So this is, I should say, this is all in wine country. So he's got these lights in a wine bottle, in wine bottles that I didn't post on here, in these giant stacks, and they're pretty astounding too. But they were my least favorite of all of them. You're seeing some of my favorites there. But the lights just went on and on and on, as you can see, right? It looks like they go almost to the horizon. There are so many lights. And I'm going to have you back here in a second because these are almost done. And you can see what I've done here when you get back. But I think there are a couple of Hearst Castle. Yeah, this guy took art to a new place for sure, right? Um, it's Oh, I just thought about it. I wonder if I'm allowed to show these pictures. I took the pictures. I don't know if that matters. I might get in trouble for this. How much? Uh, I think it covers about 3 acres. Um, and you walk around the whole thing. They actually have a bar at one end, and if you buy the right tickets, you can just sit at the bar and you overlook all of the colored lights. You overlook all of the colored lights, uh, and then they have fires there, and of course they sell food and hot cocoa and whatnot. But we got in and got out. We didn't hang around too long. We went and um, just took our time and walked around and did what we thought we wanted to do or see. And it took us about an hour and a half to get through all of these. It tells you about how many, or how you can walk through them all, or how, what am I trying to say? How many are there to be able to get through? Um, yeah, it's pretty astounding. So they've been here. These lights have been here for 5 years, 6 years. This is the first time I've gone to see them. Whoop. Let's get you back. Let's get you back to me. And while you were gone, I put a little cerulean blue on the top of here. A little, what's that called? Ultramarine on the bottom of this boat. I put a little maroon paraline on the bottom of that boat. That's all. Let's see, how much property was this my first time seeing it, Sherry? Yes, this was my first time seeing this, and it's pretty astounding. You're advertising for them. I If you want to go, I think everybody should go and see it. It was unbelievable. The name of it is Sensario, and it reminds me a great deal of now you're all going to be mad at me. It reminds me of the guy who did the umbrellas. if any of you remember the guy that did all the umbrellas, remember him? Remember what his name was? But yeah, he went out, or I'm sure he's got a team that helped him, and he set them up. And I don't know how long it took to set them up, but they all have individual wires. The entire wire glows, and they go out to the balls on the end, which are on sticks. And the whole thing is pretty fantastic. I would go again. I don't know that I'm going to go again, but I definitely would go again. Like I said, it is a long way away for me. I don't drive all that much. I like things that are close to home. Um, and it's not cheap. It's pretty pricey. But you can stay as long as you want. I think it's open until 11 at night, something like that. Anyways, it's called Sensario, and it's pretty outstanding. I thought it was pretty cool. So I want you guys to see that. I'm probably gonna get a copyright get a copyright thing. Is it ongoing? Did I answer that? It is ongoing. Uh, the original installation. Actually, this is kind of cool. The original installation was only supposed to be there for 6 months, but he put it up kind of just before COVID. No, that's not true. It was going to be up for 6 months, and it was a hit, and they extended it, and they were going to take it down during COVID, but because it's outdoors and because it's away from everything else, people just kept going and kept going, and so they didn't. And I mean, when I was there, right now it is a big facility, but when I was there still had to be 300 or 400 people there. Um, so it's not a small thing that's going away anytime soon. So, anyways, the what am I trying to say? The land has been donated to that artist. The owner of the land is not going to take it back anytime soon. So it is at this point a permanent art installation. It'll be there until the artist wants to take it away. Uh, it's been there for 5 years. Like I said, it started before COVID, so it's been there for 5 years. Uh, and it's pretty cool. Price was your next question. Price is a lot. I want to say it's like $40 a person, 40, $50 a person. It's not cheap. Yeah. I'll tell you what, you all come to California. I'll take you on a tour. We'll do a watercolor tour. We'll start here by the ocean. We'll do some seascapes. There's a couple of really nice places inland. We'll do some landscapes there, and then we'll all go and visit Sensario. That's a long way away. But we'll all go over there and visit Sensario, and that way it'll be fantastic. I think it would be fun. All right, I want to get some dots and some things in here. Right, I want to try to lightly do a little bit of line work on here. Sometimes, like I said, I've been trying to do it a little bit more gently. Oh, you know what? I got to put some more blue on here. This cover has kind of a fold on it here. Let's put that on. Bruce Monroe, that's it. That's it, Bruce Monroe. You found him. It's pretty. Yeah, everybody come. We got lots of hotel space in my town, right by the ocean, so you know there's going to be plenty of hotels and motels here. Be room for everybody. I'll do this. Let's see. I'm going to draw on some of the frames. The motor for the windows. A few things here and there. I do want to get a little bit of this really kind of darkish black. Be mixing a little bit of that gray. Right, to help designate a fender around some of these wheels. We're going to have to come in and redo a little bit of the... I actually think this is looking kind of nice. We can bring our room. Wait a minute, you have a room you can bring? How do you bring a room? We actually, I was surprised, right? It's no, I've said it a million times. We're a little tourist town here, and there are lots of tourists. This weekend was so busy, or this past week was so busy. Oh, I can't imagine. I can't remember. Let's see, when it was this busy last. Here, it's been so busy this past week. Let's see, I'm just trying to throw in, right, a shadow. We know it's going to be something like that. You guys have told me enough. I can't have things floating around. Doesn't make for a good image, so it needs to be planted. I'm coming over to everybody else's side. Oh, a motorhome. Oh, your motorhome. So I want to be able to plant this in the ground. Yeah, bring the motorhome. We got plenty of motorhome parking. There's actually. So I live near this giant hill. Actually, we call it a hill, but I actually think it's a mountain. I live on the side of it. I think the sizing is going to be just about enough to be a mountain. Does anybody know how tall something has to be a mountain? It's almost 800 feet tall. So I think it's tall enough to be considered a mountain. But right on the side of it is some prime RV parking, and there's a campground at the bottom of it. Liza, you got a tent? perfect. We got a campground that is literally 50 yards, 40 yards from the ocean. It's pretty it's a pretty cool campground. All right, I'm going to drop in a few extra things here and there. I like this. I don't love it. I like this. I think this turned out pretty good. So I'm going to do a little bit more here. I'm going to say I'm going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to screw everything up. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. Right? A little bit there. A little bit more. Darken this just a bit. I'm trying to give it a little bit extra here to make it stand out a little bit more. Right, that can be a little darker underneath there. Little boat here. Now this one back here needs a little bit more help, obviously. What can we do to help this guy out back here? I like this boat. I like this boat. I don't love the trailers. Honestly, I thought the trailer was going to be easier than that. You think if I deepen the greens in the back, you think they're going to pop out? You're probably right. I put it in pretty dark, and I said if it was dark, it would make them pop out. And I think you're right, Liza. What has happened is, like it happens with lots of watercolors, is it's gotten a lot lighter. Now this is a little canopy for this boat, and I got to draw in. I'm going to draw in some lines for that, but that's going to need to be done after we darken up the background. And I think you're exactly right. If we do that, it'll help push these forward. Let's see, if I do a little bit there and I put a little bit of dark up here, will this make this boat pop out a little bit more? Be a little bit more of something. Not wild about this boat. Maybe if we give it a little bit more detail, something will happen to it. Oh, that helped. That helped a little bit. Well, it's got a little bit more life now. I will say, this is hard. I feel like I have to turn to the side to do some work here. Because I'm not turning the page. I need to be able to turn the page. Why did I handicap myself? The guy should get a nicer boat. This guy over here should get a nicer boat. Let's do this. I'm going to use probably like straight olive green here. I'll throw a little bit of this phthalo into it, because that'll help punch it up a little bit. But I really like, might be too much. That might be too much phthalo. I really like using the olive green that's here, it really does kind of complement a lot of the colors that we have in our fauna around here. I do this. Shoot, I probably even drop in some blue. Ultramarine blue would probably even push that back even further. We'll kind of, oops, ooh, no, no, don't go over that. We'll kind of use this as though it were a little bit of gouache. Paint over this. But I think you're right. An extra layer of darkness is really going to help push this boat this way. See, I'm glad you guys are here to help me out with this stuff. I would have struggled with this. I need you guys here every time I paint. I do. All right, there we go. That helps that one. Now let's see what we can do on some of these ones in the middle here. Let's put another kind of a bush shrub thing over here. Plus, this will help cover up any imperfections, any mistakes I may have made. Ooh, I think it dipped into phthalo blue. Give me some of this other color. I don't want that. I don't want it to be all one color because I want when it dries to be able to look at it and go, wow, that's got some interesting colors back behind it. Trying to connect these shapes a little bit. Let's see what we can get in there. I think that does help to. Still got some green on this brush. I think that does. Yeah. Eliza, I'm glad you enjoy our weekly visit. I enjoy it. And I hope you guys learned something. I know I do. I always enjoy these Wednesdays. I think I want to do. Oh, that's going to take a long time to dry. That's gotten a bit thick. A bit thicker than I wanted. I like this one over here. I think this one looks better over here. I'm just going to try to straighten up an edge. I don't know that it needs it. I always feel like I need to do a little bit more. There we go. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to take my small brush. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a flat brush, blot it, and see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm past the blot stage. Yeah, kind of past the blot stage. I'm going to let it dry. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, probably. It dries. So I'm going to use a flat brush here. To anchor this down. I might even do a little bit more on that leading edge. And now looking at it, I probably should have left it off. And it's one of those things that I think, as I look at it, you have to try to limit what you do, right? Simplify the image from time to time. And I think that maybe this could have been simplified without that. It was there. I see it. It's hard to do. You look at it and you go, oh, it's should be something. But maybe it shouldn't have been. There's some dots and some dashes and something. I guess I could. I don't know how to. Let's see. I don't do this very well. Let's see. This brush won't work. Let's see if I can do this with a different brush. Which one? Here we go. That's what I should have done from the beginning. I'm not good at it. Anybody have a good tip on spots? Let's see what it looks like. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's not so bad. I wanted to, it's a gravel area up there. It should have something. I don't do splatter well. I blame Liza. I haven't really done this type of painting in, I don't know, however long. I really am enjoying it, Liza. I'm kidding around with you. I really am enjoying it, but I haven't done it in a long time. This style of painting, I'm enjoying getting back to it, but it's the little things like this splatter that I'm like going, oh my god. Now I remember why I don't do it anymore, because I'm not used to doing it, and I don't think I do it well. You always end up with spots on your phone. I've just been cleaning it. I have a rag. I've just been wiping with here. I have spots not only here on the back of those paintings. I got spots on my mouse already. There's some on my keyboard. There's some on the side of my water bottle up here. Oh, what are you going to do, right? Okay. Let's see. I'm going to sign this one in some sort of a dry spot over here. And that's going to mark my end to this, but let's do a little spots on your glasses. Oh my God. Let's do a little retrospective here. I'm going to take this off for that. I just have it taped down with a little bit of tape. And I'm looking at this because I want to be able to move it a little bit so we can get it in here. So I'm looking at this. I actually like these trees back here. I think these trees kind of turned out really nice. I'm not quite as wild about these. And they did need some dark in front here, or in front of this level and behind this level, right? So I don't know if that's mid. It's like second mid level. Um, so I like that. It definitely needed that dark there. That dark helped push these further forward in the picture, along with you can't see it, but when I put it down, this was pretty red, right? You can definitely see that this is a warmer hue here. That helped pull the front towards us a little bit. I like my little rowboat back here. It's not really a rowboat, but this little boat, that little bit of blue there and a little bit over here just shows that that cover is on there, and there's some kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? Indentation. There's some kind of something there. Let's just not talk about this boat over here. This guy's boat is weird. The lines maybe helped. I don't know. I like this. So the original picture has this hull that has a cutout, like a scallop right here. So I just put the hull line, whatever you call this, at two different levels and made an effort to put a shadow underneath here. I think that worked really well because you can definitely tell that there's something going on with this hull. Now this shadow over here doesn't belong, and that's okay. Doesn't matter. You don't think about it when you look at it. But this should be more in sunlight than this. But I just put that shadow over there, and it seems to work. If I had any white gouache handy, I might put a little bit here on the wheels. I don't think it matters a whole lot. I didn't actually look. I guess on this you can see I have a larger image of this, blown up on my monitor. I guess you can see the wheels back on the other side. I bet if I didn't mention that there's only two wheels, it would take you a few minutes to notice that there's not wheels on the other side of that trailer. And this is a bit weird. I don't know. It's in the reference photo. I probably should have just left it out and said it's something that doesn't add anything to it. But by the time I thought of that, I had drawn it on there already. Anyways, so it's there. And the splatter in the front, I knew this needed to be kind of busy here. It's gravel. There are potholes in it and whatnot. I don't know. The splatter is what you do to do that. I don't know that I exactly accomplished with it what I wanted to, but I think it's a good try. It'll give me some more experience for the next time I have to do it. All in all, I think it's a fun painting. If this boat had turned out a little differently, this one turned out great. The background behind it definitely helps them stand out, so I'm all good with it. So with that, I think that I am going to call it good and call it a night. I think next week, don't go anywhere quite yet. Uh-oh. Hold on. Next week, I think I've got this. I printed it out so everybody could see it. Kind of a Christmas truck. It's got wreaths on it. Or this other building that's in my town. This is the Natural History Museum. I don't know if I can set that on there or not. And it's kind of a cool thing. And all the rocks down here. This is black and white. Took it off my printer. But that's kind of a cool painting. I've got those drawn. We'll figure one of those two out. We probably should do some Christmas paintings or some holiday paintings. The museum do that. Eliza, you already say do the museum. I love that museum. That's such an interesting little place. Okay, with that, we'll figure it out. I'm going to call it a night right there. Sherry, Liza, Susie, Dana, Natalie. I don't know if anybody else is here. Thank you for joining me. We will see you all back here next week. Thank you so much for making my Wednesday evening enjoyable. Until then, bye bye.